Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Lean Publishing Tip of the Day. Today, I'm going to be talking about Leanpub reviews. This is something that people have been asking us for a long time. Can you write reviews of books and courses on Leanpub? The answer up until recently has been no, but now the answer is yes. People can write reviews, and in this live stream, I'm going to be showing you how to do that, how people can do that, and then how you can, as a Leanpub author, how you can manage reviews and where these reviews go and all that kind of stuff. I'm using a little bit of a new setup today. I haven't done StreamYard quite the way I'm going to be doing it, so hopefully I'll get it right. The first time doing it live, probably not though, so there'll be a little bit even more of me kind of looking around and stuff like that going on. Um, as usual, there is an accompanying blog post for this live stream. So here I am sharing my whole screen. That's the thing that's kind of new to me today. On the right, you can see the blog post. This is on our blog at leanpub.com/blog. If you go to our blog, if you go to our blog and you don't see this particular tip of the day post, just click the magnifying glass at the top right, search for the keywords, and you'll find it. As always, these Lean Publishing tips of the day are also recorded. These live streams are recorded and published on our YouTube channel in perpetuity. You can find them there. Please like and subscribe and all of that. Every subscription helps Leanpub authors like you get discovered when you do new release videos with me or launch videos and stuff like that, and when we promote you on social media. And as always, for anyone watching, you can skip ahead to 2 minutes. We're already there almost already, but it's at 2 minute point that we really start kind of getting into the meat of the live stream so that people who are watching the recording can just skip ahead. We're live on X and LinkedIn and YouTube. Let me make sure I click to go live on Instagram for anyone getting into live streaming. Um, uh, there's an extra step on Instagram to get Instagram going, but I just did that now. So here we go, getting to the 2 minute mark. So 2, 1. Okay, now we're at the 2 minute mark, and it's time to start talking about this Lean Publishing tip of the day directly. So we're talking about Leanpub reviews today. People can now write and publish reviews of Leanpub books and courses on Leanpub. How you manage this as an author, how you manage this as a reader, and how it works with different versions of books and courses is what I'm going to be talking about briefly today. We'll make a more polished video probably someday. We'll probably have a Help Center article that sort of works everything up from a reader's perspective and a separate one from an author's perspective and explaining how everything works. But I'm really excited about this feature. So I'm here today to talk to you, to show you how it works, basically. So the key thing to understand is that it's live for everyone. Anyone can write a review of a Leanpub book or a Leanpub course right now. And the way they do it is they would buy a book. In this case, the example I'm using is on the left here. I've got a user set up who's bought a Leanpub book. And it is the sample nonfiction theme book that I use for various demo purposes and stuff like that. The write a review feature is displayed prominently right there when they open up the book in their library, and then they do actually need to give a star review, and then they can just write their review here. I'm just going to write a really short one, but it can be longer. We'll make this feature better over time, but right now they've got a little box they can open up and things like that. So they have to give a star rating. And then they can just write a review right there in their Leanpub library. No fancy different place to go, anything like that. And they just click submit review. So boom, off goes their review. They can actually view their past reviews if they want to. So they can go to the reviews section of their account, and then they can click there to view the reviews. They can delete the review. I'll explain the shown on profile thing later. But yeah, this is a very cool feature. So every Leanpub account now has a reviews section where they can go and view their past reviews. And they can delete them if they want to. Now, the second thing that I want to show you is what this is like from an author perspective. So from an author perspective, here I am signed into this book as an author on the right. What happened to the review? Well, what happened is if I go to my reviews page, I got to sign in, live demo, always like this. Okay, so now there's some issue here. Author books, just see me click around, published books, nonfiction theme, boom. Okay, so forget the bug. Basically people, when they submit a review, you will see it on the reviews page in the community section of your book. So if you go to your book's overview page, which is the sort of like, main thing you should always go to. If you look in the community section on the bottom, there's a reviews section. You click there. That's what I did. So overview, community, reviews, and then you can find the reviews page. Now, for each book or course that you have published, you're in control. This is a key thing about Leanpub reviews and your book landing and course landing pages is you're in control. So you can decide whether or not you want to have a reviews section on your book or course page. If you want to have it, you go to this section of your book or course. Again, it's the book overview page. Go to the community section, go to reviews, and then you can click show reviews. So this will make a reviews section on your page. And then it's up to you whether or not these reviews appear. So if there were a number here, if you want, you would read the review. And if they're longer, you can, open it up like a full box like that. And then you can click the feature button, which would feature the book, which would feature the review on your homepage, on your Leanpub book landing page. So let's just go there and see what that looks like in my demo book here. So there's the featured reviews. There's the review. People can click on it and read it. So you are in control. We explained this in our recent Leanpub author update, which I've just showing here on the right now. But basically, uh, the idea here is like this feature will evolve and stuff like that. But what we wanted to do was avoid all of the kind of, if you're into this kind of stuff, product reviews are hugely controversial things. For all kinds of reasons. They can be gamed, they can be exploited positively and negatively for authors, all that kind of stuff. So what we wanted to do is basically reviews are currently kind of a version of a testimonial. Someone writes a review of your book. If you want to feature it, whether it's good or bad or whatever, it's up to you whether you want to feature it. Now on the left here, what I have is the account of the person who wrote the review. And this person has a reader membership. So since they have a reader membership, they can choose to show reviews on their profile page. And if I go to the account section for this user and I go to the profile page, you can see that there's some settings here that they've got the public profile page turned on and show reviews on profile. So this is actually one of the reasons we really want to encourage people to get reader memberships. In addition to, of course, the main reason, which is like, book access to 2,000 free with membership books, which is the main reason to do it, and book credits, which are in course credits, which are an awesome thing, which we've explained elsewhere, and we'll explain more in the future. But basically, what users can do now for the first time is get these public profile pages if they have a reader membership. They can put up their name, they can describe themselves, and they can post their reviews there. So this is a very cool community feature. If you're a Leanpub reader who just loves Leanpub authors and Leanpub books, you can write your reviews here, and that's very cool. You can show your reviews here if you have a paid reader membership. So that's really awesome. Now, if you're a Leanpub author, one thing you're going to be asking about, obviously, right away is Leanpub books can be. We encourage people to publish early and publish often. We encourage people to publish their books basically chapter by chapter as they write them. So anyone who bought it in the past gets all the updates for free. So another reason we've sort of not had reviews for such a long time is that like dealing with that is actually a sort of interesting, I find it fascinating complication. How do you handle reviews of books that can be updated anytime? Books that are published in progress. And the sort of concept that we came up with was the public version of a book. So can be reviewed. So the way that works is if you go to the manuscript versions page, you can see private versus public reviews. A private review is a preview or publish. And particularly, it doesn't apply to previews. Previews are all private, but a private published version is when you kind of silently updated your book. You click the publish button to publish a new version because you fixed some typo or something like that, or fixed a problem with an image, or made some small change, right? And actually, most of the time, people publish new versions of their books. It is for small changes like that. But every once in a while, you want to publish, a big new version where you're announcing it to people. And when you do that, the way it works is, if you're unfamiliar with this, you go to the publish book for your page for your book, and on the publish page, you can actually notify your readers that your book has been updated with release notes. If you do that, I'll just type "Hi, big update" and publish my book. There's the launch video application, which I encourage everyone to apply for. But basically, I'm publishing a new version of my book, and since I added the release notes to my readers telling them, "Hey, here's a big new update," this counts as a public version. And so what that means is that anyone can write reviews of that new public version, but anyone who actually wrote reviews in the past can actually then write a new review. So you can't write more than one review of one version of a book. You can only write one review of a version of a book, a public version of a book. If you, as the author, then publish a new public version of your book, and I'm just going back to the manuscript versions page here, hopefully. There we go. So you can see that since I added release notes, my newly published version is public, which means anyone who reviewed it in the past can write a new review of it, and anyone who writes a review of it now will that like they'll sort of be able to sort of do a new one. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But anyway, when you do release notes, when you publish a new version, that's a public version of your book. Those public versions are what people can do reviews of. If you look here, the first public version of my book was V1, so that's currently reflected here. V1 is actually shown on the review. Currently, what this means is people can see that you've been busy in the background, publishing new versions. So if they wanted to write a review of the new version, it would say reviewed V20. We might change that. I mean, if you've got feedback as an author, whether that's what you want it sort of like just kind of the number of public versions is probably a better way to do it. So we wouldn't sort of reveal that there've been a bunch of privately published new versions, but at the same time, you might want people to know how much work you've been doing in the background all the time. And we do actually like to. I actually do think there's very useful things about tracking published versions, even if they're private or public. So we'll be working on that. But basically, when you publish a public version of your book, that's what people can review. If they've written a past review, they can now write a new review of your book. And so the really exciting thing there for Leanpub is that basically, like, people might write a review of your first book and of your first version of your book and be like, this isn't that great, and maybe you'll see that review and you might not feature it on your homepage, but you might then take that feedback into account. And that's really at the heart of lean publishing. Is here I am looking around. I'm just going to remove this from the screen. So at the heart of lean publishing, the lean publishing philosophy is getting feedback from readers as you write. So now with reviews, you have a really awesome way of getting feedback. They have a way of giving you feedback, and it's not like an email or something like that. It's actually a proper kind of review with a star rating. What people can do is they can say, this book is really awesome. The author's 2 chapters in. Those 2 chapters are great. What I'd really love to see is a chapter on this and that. They can tell you that their review can tell you that, this first version, kind of like there's a few too many typos, or it looks like it was written too quickly or something like that. This could really work with a sort of pass from an editor, stuff like that. You can get all kinds of amazing feedback using this reviews feature. And so I highly recommend that you sort of get a little bit familiar with it. But the main thing to know, and we'll work on notifications and stuff like that for now. I'm not sure actually if you get, let me just check my notifications up here. Yes. So actually, if you check your when someone submits a review of your book, you'll actually get a little notification. I'm not sharing my screen anymore. So I just click my notifications up here. And if you do that, you can see that someone left a review is there as a notification in the app, basically. This is an incredibly cool feature that we don't really talk about too much, but we do have these kind of in-app notifications, which again, I recommend you sort of get used to checking those out every once in a while. It's a really useful thing, but that's where you'll get notified that there are reviews. You can then, click the notification to view the reviews. You can then choose to feature them on the landing page for your book or course if you want to. Of course, you can undo that decision if you want to later. And very cool thing is that readers now, if they have a paid reader membership, one of the things they can do in addition to getting access to all the free with membership books and stuff like that is and credits is they can actually have a public profile page with reviews. So I know I talked really fast. I wanted to get through this in the sort of normal 15 minutes, but hopefully this video will be useful for people who are sort of just learning about Leanpub reviews. We'll do stuff that's more polished in the future, and we'll have an accompanying kind of help center article and all that kind of stuff. So thank you very much, everyone, for bearing with me as I get used to my new setup. And yeah, you can check out this full video later on today and then forever on our YouTube channel. Thanks.